All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. You are live and direct with your Akazaki Yahoo, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua Hamashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say shalom, wa baruchim. That is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation under the Most High Power, under one covenant, back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone, with our enemies under our feet. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So be it.
Hallelujah. Indeed. I am joined this evening by my most esteemed Akinanaya. Shalom, Aki.
Hey, Shalom Maki, Shalom Yasharal, Wah, Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Wa Malak, Yahweh Shah, Barakatah.
Hallelujah. All praises. Peace, peace to the family. Peace to everybody. And all praises to Yahweh in the name of his beloved son, Yahweh Shah, the Messiah, and King, bless you. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It is, yes, indeed. It is another Yom Shishi evening, and we are back once again for another video review. We are currently broadcasting live to Facebook page, the YouTube page, as well as on Twitch. So praises to the Abba. We have a couple of videos we're going to run through real quick from Black Journals that we're going to do our video review. If you remember, a few weeks back, may have been more than a few, but sometime back, we reviewed the cities destroyed by envious whites from Black Journals. Well, it came with the part 2 to that. So we're going to follow up on that. And we have another very interesting video, the untold story of the great African empires. So we're going to figure out which of those African empires were actually Israelite empires. And we're going to go through that. Let's go ahead and get to the video. And once again, giving all praises to the Most High Power. And I hope you are edified in this as much as we will be. So.
Their envy and jealousy was beyond evil.
The consciousness is beginning to gradually spread with the wind. Blacks are beginning to stir up, questioning outrightly, burdened by hurting memories passed down to them from older generations who were present in the horrible event of the destruction of these prosperous cities. More horrible than words it is.
And they say Black people never try to get ahead? Black people aren't entrepreneurial? We were the original entrepreneurs before all of the other immigrant groups.
My grandmother is from Thomasville, Arkansas. Her town was destroyed when she was a kid, and she had PTSD from it until she passed away at the age of 88 in 2010.
What I don't understand, they didn't want us to integrate their neighborhoods. Then why destroy the neighborhoods that we built?
I met the survivors of the Philadelphia destruction 9 years back in 1998, and they were still shell-shocked.
In the shadow of America's troubled past, a sinister force fueled the destruction of thriving Black communities. Hate, segregation, and racism had ignited a fire of envy, targeting self-sufficient Black towns and cities. The result was devastating. Once vibrant neighborhoods reduced to ghost towns in a wink of an eye. Their stories silenced by violence and oppression. Welcome to another video segment where we continue the journey into one of America's darkest histories of Black ghost towns, which were erased from the American landscape by hatred and intolerance of the white dominance. Let us dive in. Number 11, Philadelphia. The Philadelphia catastrophic event, also termed the 1985 Move bombing, took place on May 13, 1985. On this day, the city of Philadelphia witnessed a catastrophic event that left an indelible mark on its history. The Move organization, a Black liberation group, had been occupying a row house in West Philadelphia for years. The group's very loud and public quest for racial justice, as well as its strong views on animal rights, led to a number of confrontations between MOVE members and their West Philadelphia neighbors, as well as with Philadelphia police. One such confrontation was the one that happened on May 13, 1985. The Philadelphia Police Department, armed with warrants, attempted to evict the group. The situation quickly escalated, and in a shocking turn of events, a police helicopter dropped a bomb containing C4 explosive and Tovex onto the roof of the building. The resulting explosion and fire engulfed the house, trapping those inside. This incident would spark widespread outrage, calling for accountability. The city's leadership faced intense scrutiny, leading to significant changes in police department policies and procedures. However, this would not measure up to the damage done. Lives have been lost. The MOVE bombing was a horrific tragedy that claimed the lives of 6 MOVE members, including 5 children and 3 of their neighbors. One of the children who burned was a 12-year-old little Phil Africa. 7 years earlier, his 3-week-old brother had been killed after being knocked out of his mother's arms and crushed during an altercation with police. After the bombing, a fire broke out that claimed 61 surrounding buildings and left 250 people homeless in the middle-class Black neighborhood. The houses that were built to replace them were tissue paper, shoddy, and the contractors tasked with replacing them served jail time for misusing the rebuilding fund. By the mid-2010s, more than half of the rebuilt homes sat boarded up, purchased by the city for $150,000 each. Number 12, Quindaro, Kansas City. In the early 20th century, Kansas City had experienced significant growth, driven by its strategic location at the confluence of the Kansas and Missouri rivers. The city became a major transportation.
Yeah, Khan. So I remember hearing about that before. These were the people who they had taken the surname Africa, and they were basically trying to gather support. They called it the MOVE. So they were trying to encourage people to get up out of here, go back to Africa, or go to Africa, I should say. And so they caught some flack for that. And I didn't realize that they had dropped a bomb on them. But man, that was crazy. I didn't realize that was the case. But that was I remember hearing about that. I want to say a few years back that they had been the subject of some definite problems. So yeah, continue here.
Station hub with railroads, highways, and rivers connecting it to other parts of the country. African Americans migrated to Kansas City from the rural South, seeking better economic opportunities and fleeing racial violence. They established vibrant communities, including the Quindaro neighborhood, which became a center of African American culture, commerce, and entertainment. The community also boasted a strong sense of pride and self-sufficiency, with numerous civic organizations, fraternal groups, and cultural events. Despite this progress, African Americans in Kansas City faced significant challenges, including racial segregation and discrimination in housing, education, and employment, limited access to healthcare, social services, and government resources. These systemic issues made the community more vulnerable to the devastating impact of the 1951 flood, which ultimately destroyed the thriving Quindaro neighborhood and displaced thousands of African Americans. The flood was a devastating disaster that ravaged the city, particularly the African American community, due to the racial hatred and discriminatory practices of the white dominance. The flood was caused by a combination of heavy rainfall and the failure of the city's levee system, which was intentionally designed to protect white-owned businesses and properties while leaving the Black neighborhoods vulnerable. On July 12, 1951, the Kansas River began to swell, and by July 13, the water had overflowed the levees, inundating the African American community of Quindaro, Kansas City, Kansas. The floodwaters destroyed hundreds of homes, businesses, churches, and properties, leaving thousands of people homeless and without livelihoods. The flood was not just a natural disaster, but a man-made catastrophe fueled by racial hatred and segregation. African Americans were forced to live in the low-lying areas, devoid of proper infrastructure and flood protection, making them easy targets for the raging floodwaters. As the waters rose, panic set in, and people scrambled to escape the deadly deluge. Many were trapped in their homes, churches, and businesses, unable to flee. The screams of those seeking help were drowned out by the roar of the floodwaters. The floodwaters ravaged the community, destroying everything in their path. Homes were reduced to rubble, businesses were washed away, and churches were left in ruins. The once thriving African American community was now a scene of utter devastation. Many perished in the disaster. Over 1,000 people were injured, and thousands more were left homeless. The floodwaters receded in July 20th, 1951, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. In the aftermath, African Americans faced significant barriers in accessing aid, resources, and support. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and other government agencies provided minimal assistance, leaving the community to fend for itself. The 1951 Kansas City flood was a stark reminder of the racial hatred and discrimination that African Americans faced in the United States. It was a disaster that could have been mitigated, but racial segregation and discriminatory practices made it a catastrophe. The legacy of this event continues to impact the community today, serving as a reminder of the ongoing struggle for racial justice and equality. 13. The city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina, which struck the Gulf Coast in August 2005, was one of the most devastating natural disasters in U.S. history. Hurricane Katrina's fury began to unfold on August 23, 2005, as a tropical depression formed in the warm waters of the Bahamas. Over the next 2 days, the storm intensified, earning its name Katrina, as it strengthened into a hurricane. On August 25th, Katrina made landfall in southern Florida, bringing heavy rain and strong winds to the region. However, it was only a glimpse of the devastation to come. As Katrina entered the Gulf of Mexico, it began to intensify, fueled by the warm waters. The storm's power grew, and its category rating increased. By August 28, Katrina had become a Category 5 hurricane, the highest rating on the Saffir-Simpson scale. On August 29th at 6:10 a.m., Katrina made landfall in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, just southeast of New Orleans. The storm's winds howled, and its storm surge crashed against the city's levee system. The levees, weakened by years of neglect and poor maintenance, began to fail. Water poured into the city, flooding homes, businesses, and streets. Panic set in as residents realized the severity of the disaster. Chaos erupted, with reports of looting, violence, and desperation. August 30 became the day of peak flooding, with waters rising to as high as 20 feet in some areas. The city was submerged, and its people were trapped. As the storm slowly moved inland, its winds weakened, but the damage was done. Katrina began to dissipate on August 31st, leaving behind a trail of destruction, death, and despair. In the days, weeks, and months that followed, the true extent of the devastation became clear. Over 1,800 lives were lost, and hundreds of thousands were displaced. Millions of people were left homeless along the Gulf Coast and in New Orleans. Hurricane Katrina caused approximately $161 billion in economic damage. The city of New Orleans was forever changed, its culture, economy, and people scarred by the storm's fury. You may be wondering how a natural disaster like this can be linked to racism. However, the truth is that the failure of the city's levee system, combined with the storm's powerful winds and rain, resulted in catastrophic flooding, which might have been minimal if the city's drainage systems had been working effectively. Furthermore, the slow response from government agencies was also a contributing factor. 14. Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta's past is marred by a tragic event in 1906, when racial animosity erupted into disruption. The violence erupted on September 22nd to September 24th, but the underlying tensions had been building for years in the post-Reconstruction era. Economic competition and resentment between African Americans and whites had been simmering, fueled by racial stereotypes and prejudices. The spark that ignited the powder keg of racial animosity was a series of false accusations of African American men assaulting white women. On September 22nd, 1906, a local newspaper, the Atlanta News, published sensationalized reports of alleged attacks on white women by black men, which further inflamed the already tense atmosphere. However, the main event that led to the annihilation was the confrontation between a white mob and a group of African American men at the 5 Points intersection in downtown Atlanta On the evening of September 22nd, the white mob, fueled by rage and misinformation, began attacking African American men and businesses, leading to a wave of violence that spread throughout the city over the next 2 days. Within a few hours, rumors had spread around the town and white mobs quickly formed. The mobs rampaged through African American neighborhoods, attacking homes, businesses, and individuals with impunity. The streets ran red with blood as the death toll mounted. The violence was indiscriminate, with men, women, and children all falling victim to the white mob's wrath. Many more were injured, with estimates ranging from 150 to 300, their bodies battered and bruised from the relentless attacks. As the city descended into chaos, many African Americans were forced to flee for their lives, abandoning their homes and businesses in a desperate bid to escape the carnage. The streets ran red with blood, and the sounds of gunfire, screams, and shattering glass filled the air. The city's leadership failed to intervene, allowing the violence to escalate. Governor Hoke Smith and Mayor Evan Howell were slow to respond, and when they finally deployed militia, the damage was already done. The rioting subsided, but the trauma lingered, leaving deep scars on the community. The investigations were half-hearted, and no one was held accountable for the atrocities. The decimation marked a turning point in Atlanta's racial dynamics, solidifying white supremacy and suppressing the progress of African Americans. Prominent Black leaders like W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington spoke out against the violence, but their voices were drowned out by the cacophony of racism and hatred. After the heat of the mass killing, the city was left to pick up the pieces of their broken community, their trust in the system shattered by the authorities' slow response and lack of action. In the aftermath, the city's leaders struggled to come to terms with the scale of the devastation. Official reports were sanitized, and the true extent of the violence was downplayed. But the African American community knew the truth. They had been targeted, and their lives had been forever changed by the hatred and violence that had been unleashed upon them. 15. Memphis, Tennessee. The Memphis, Tennessee annihilation was a devastating event that occurred in May 1866. It was a brutal display of racial violence perpetrated by white mobs against African Americans. The city, still reeling from the aftermath of the Civil War, was a volatile mix of racial animosity, economic competition, and political unrest. On May 1st, 1866, a seemingly minor confrontation between white police officers and black soldiers sparked the violence. However, it quickly escalated into a full-blown riot as white mobs comprising of police officers, firefighters, and civilians descended upon the city's black residents, soldiers, and sympathizers. Over the next 2 days, the mobs wreaked havoc on the city, leaving a trail of destruction and death in their wake. Black churches, schools, and homes were torched, and their occupants were beaten, shot, or lynched. The streets ran red with the blood of innocent victims. As the white mobs showed no mercy in their rampage, a joint congressional committee reported 75 persons injured, 100 persons robbed, 5 women raped, 91 homes burned, 4 churches and 8 schools burned and destroyed, and $17,000 in federal property destroyed. Hundreds of blacks were jailed, and almost all other freedmen fled town until the carnage ended. For 2 days, white mobs, which included policemen, firemen, and some businessmen, attacked the freedmen's camps and neighborhoods. The riot had begun after an alarm went off that African American soldiers from Fort Pickering, on the south boundary of downtown Memphis, had killed several policemen who tried to arrest a black soldier. In response to the reports, Union General George Stoneman disarmed the soldiers and locked them in their barracks, leaving nearby freedmen settlements vulnerable to the white mobs that soon attacked women, children, and defenseless men, as well as the northern missionaries who served as ministers and teachers for the freedmen. The Memphis riots reflected the anger and frustration felt by many white citizens, and particularly former Confederates, who had suffered the agony of a bitter defeat at the hands of a black and white Union Army. Specifically Irish immigrants who had sided with the Confederacy, they hated the freedmen who dominated the skilled and unskilled jobs that had previously served as a mechanism for upward mobility in the Irish community. Some downtown businessmen also participated in the mob because they resented the hordes of penniless freedmen on the streets. Other rioters wanted revenge for the Union occupation. The use of African American soldiers as patrolmen with power to order whites to move on was especially galling to many. Furthermore, the riots reflected the attitudes of most white citizens toward the former slaves, who were then free and soon demanding equal rights. The riot led to the death of many, mostly African Americans. Hundreds more were left homeless, their livelihoods destroyed by the senseless violence. Now to the next, number 16, Nicodemus, Kansas. The destruction of Nicodemus, Kansas was a disastrous consequence of racial terrorism fueled by white supremacy and a desire to suppress Black economic and social progress. On multiple occasions, white mobs attacked the town, destroying property and forcing Black residents to flee for their lives. The violence was sparked by resentment towards the town's success and the perceived threat it posed to white dominance. The attacks on Nicodemus were brutal and relentless, with white mobs using intimidation and violence to destroy the town's homes, businesses, and community buildings. Many Black residents were forced to abandon their livelihoods and possessions, leaving behind a thriving community that was reduced to a ghost town. Despite the severity of the attacks, no one was held accountable for the destruction of Nicodemus. The incident was largely forgotten, and the town's legacy was left to fade away. However, the impact of the violence and intimidation continued to be felt, serving as a stark reminder of the ongoing struggle for racial justice and equality in the United States. Number 17, Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Mound Bayou, in the Mississippi Delta, is a town founded in 1887 by former slaves, with a vision that was revolutionary for its time. From the start, it was designed to be a self-reliant, autonomous, all-Black community. For decades, Mound Bayou thrived and prospered, becoming famous for empowering its Black citizens. The town also became known as a haven from the virulent racism of the Jim Crow South. As Mound Bayou flourished, its prosperity and independence sparked jealousy among white neighbors who saw the town's achievements as a threat to their own status. Racist attitudes and discriminatory practices began to suffocate the town, stifling its growth and potential. The railroad, once a vital lifeline connecting Mound Bayou to major cities, was rerouted, isolating the town and crippling its economy. This deliberate act of sabotage was a clear example of how white supremacy sought to strangle the town's progress. On June 12, 1921, a racial decimation occurred in Mound Bayou, marking the beginning of the end for the town. A white horde, fueled by hatred and resentment, descended upon the town, burning homes, businesses, and crops. Many residents were killed, injured, or forced to flee for their lives. The violence was sparked by a dispute over land ownership, but it was clear that the true motive was to destroy the town and its people. The annihilation was followed by a wave of intimidation, forcing many remaining residents to abandon their homes and livelihoods. By the 1930s, Mound Bayou was a ghost town, its once thriving community reduced to rubble and ashes. The town's legacy serves as a testament to the strength and resilience of its people, who fought against overwhelming odds to build a better life for themselves and their community. The destruction of Mound Bayou was a tragic consequence of racial terrorism, fueled by white supremacy and a desire to maintain racial dominance. Number 18, Black Dom, New Mexico. Black Dom, New Mexico, a thriving African-American settlement established in 1903, was a beacon of hope and self-sufficiency for its residents. However, its success was short-lived, as it became a target of white envy, racism, and resentment. July 15, 1920, was a day of unspeakable horror in Blackdom, New Mexico, as a marauding white mob, consumed by racial hatred and envy, unleashed a reign of terror upon the unsuspecting town. With torches and guns in hand, the mob rampaged through the streets, leaving a trail of destruction and chaos in their wake. Homes were reduced to ashes, businesses were looted and burned, and crops were set ablaze, leaving the town's residents to face the unimaginable. Many innocent lives were lost, others were grievously injured, and some were forced to flee for their lives, never to return to their beloved Black Dom again. The pretext for the violence was a land ownership dispute, but it was merely a thinly veiled excuse for the true intention: to annihilate the town and its inhabitants. The mob, which comprises of local white ranchers and businessmen, had harbored a deep-seated resentment towards Blackdom's prosperity and sought to eradicate the competition. driven by a desire to maintain their own economic dominance and racial supremacy. This senseless act of racial violence marked the beginning of the end for the thriving African American community, forever etching the date in the annals of history as a day of infamy. And the next black city on the list is number 19, Boley, Oklahoma. Boley, Oklahoma, a flourishing all-black community established in 1904, represented a shining example of autonomy and prosperity for its inhabitants. Nonetheless, its triumph was fleeting, as it became the focus of white hostility, fueled by jealousy, racial animosity, and bitterness. The white dominance saw the town's achievements as a threat to their own status. In no time, racist attitudes and discriminatory practices began to suffocate the town, stifling its growth and potential. Calamity doomed the city on October 12, 1921. The devastating event struck Boley, marking the beginning of its end. On that particular day, a violent horde of white supremacists, consumed by hatred and intolerance, unleashed a reign of terror upon the town, destroying everything in their path. The once thriving community was left in ruins, with homes, businesses, and crops destroyed. The residents, victimized by racial animosity, suffered unimaginable horrors, including loss of life, bruises, and forced displacement. The violence was sparked by a dispute over a local election, but it was clear that the true motive was to destroy the town and its people. The mob, which consisted of local white ranchers and businessmen, had long resented Boley's success and sought to eliminate the competition. By the 1950s, Boley was largely abandoned, its once thriving community reduced to rubble and ashes. The town's legacy serves as a testament to the strength and resilience of its people, who fought against overwhelming odds to build a better life for themselves and their community. Number 20, Eatonville, Florida. In the heart of Florida, a thriving all-black town named Eatonville stood tall, its vibrant community and successful businesses a testament to the resilience of its people. Founded in 1887, Eatonville was a beacon of hope and pride, a place where African Americans could build a better life for themselves. But beneath the surface, a cauldron of white envy, racism, and resentment simmered, waiting to unleash its fury upon the unsuspecting town. As Eatonville flourished, its success sparked jealousy among white neighbors, who saw the town's achievements as a threat to their own status. Racist attitudes and discriminatory practices began to suffocate the town, eroding its foundation and setting the stage for a catastrophic event that would change the course of history. The construction of Interstate 4, a highway connecting Orlando to Tampa, was touted as a marvel of modern engineering. But for Eatonville, it was a death sentence. The project's leaders, driven by a desire to erase African American communities, deliberately chose a path that would decimate the town. By the late 1950s, the construction company, led by white engineers and officials, began acquiring land in Eatonville, using eminent domain to force residents to sell their properties at below market prices. December 17, 1959, marked a calamitous moment as the demolition crew arrived in Eatonville, their bulldozers and wrecking balls poised to strike. Without warning, they began razing the town's main street, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The historic Eatonville Town Hall, the Zion Baptist Church, the Eatonville Post Office, and dozens of homes and businesses were reduced to rubble, their memories erased from the landscape. Residents, given little notice and offered meager compensation, were forced to flee to nearby cities, their lives forever changed by the devastation. The destruction of Eatonville was a deliberate act of urban renewal, fueled by racism and a desire to erase African American communities. The construction of Interstate 4 marked the beginning of the end for Eatonville, leaving behind a legacy of heartbreak and displacement that would haunt its people for generations to come. Now to the last on the list, number 21, Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit riot of 1967 is a series of violent confrontations between residents of predominantly African American neighborhoods of Detroit and the city's police department that began on July 23, 1967, and lasted 5 days. The riot resulted in the deaths of 43 people, including 33 African Americans and 10 whites. Many other people were injured. More than 7,000 people were arrested, and over 1,000 buildings were burned in the uprising. The riot is considered one of the catalysts of the militant Black Power movement. The immediate cause of the riot was a police raid at an illegal after-hours drinking club, the site of a welcome home party for 2 returning Vietnam War veterans. The police arrested all patrons in attendance, including 82 African Americans. Local residents who witnessed the raid protested, and several of them vandalized property, looted businesses, and started fires. Police responded by blockading the surrounding neighborhood, but outraged local residents drove through the blockade. The protests and violence spread to other areas of the city as police lost control of the situation. Within the next several days, more than 9,000 members of the U.S. National Guard were deployed by Michigan Governor George Romney, along with 800 Michigan State Police. On the second day of the riot, President Lyndon B. Johnson sent U.S. Army troops to the city to help quell the violence. Unfortunately, the troops sent to quell the violence failed to intervene in attacks on African Americans, arresting more African Americans than white rioters and using excessive force against African Americans. In the aftermath of the event, 34 people were killed, including 25 African Americans and 9 white Americans, with over 1,000 injured and more than 2,000 arrested. Going forward, as the last remnants of these thriving Black communities were erased, their people were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The construction of highways, urban renewal projects, and systemic racism had not only destroyed their homes and businesses, but also their sense of community and identity. It is important to note that these cities we have mentioned to you are nothing near the actual number of Black cities and towns that were destroyed in those days. History has it that they were over 300 Black cities put to the torch. However, even in the midst of devastation, the spirit of these communities refused to die. Their people, although scattered across the region, held onto the memories of their beloved towns and the struggles they had faced together. Today, the legacy of these lost communities lives on, a testament to the resilience and strength of their people. Though they may be gone, their stories remain powerful reminders of the impact of systemic racism and the importance of preserving our collective history. In the end, the destruction of these communities became a catalyst for change, inspiring future generations to fight for justice and equality. And though they may be ghosts of the past, their spirits continue to haunt us, urging us to confront the darkness of our history and work towards a brighter future. That brings us to the end of yet another video set.
Wow. I mean, that was such a powerful video. All things considered, a lot of this information I was not privy to. And I don't even know if there's a way to go in and search for destroyed so-called Black or African-American towns. I don't know how he came up with this information and put it all together. But man, Black Journal, shout out to those brothers, man, doing more magnificent work. I mean, the continuing theme was jealousy and racism, systemic racism. And that's what our people face. And in the face of all of that, we ended up losing so many different locations. At the very end, he said there were over 300 thriving Black cities, Black towns that were put to the torch, that were destroyed for that same thing, jealousy and racism. And they never found themselves out of character for going in and destroying the town. At the very beginning of the video, I thought it was very interesting. It sounded like an interview. They said they didn't want us integrating into their towns. Why would they destroy ours? Like,
right.
You know, that's crazy. But man, that's why we do these videos, because it's learning. You know, you go back and rewatch this video, and you can notate, you know, every city that was mentioned, the city, the year, and all of the situations that occurred. And the theme is the same. So I'm gonna yield there. Go ahead, Doc.
Con, I just want to quickly highlight one of the cities that were thriving, Black town that was spoke about, and that was Boley, Oklahoma. I don't remember the year that it said the massacre occurred there, but what I want, because I've never seen this before, So, I like when we get to looking at stuff like this, I like to kind of do my own research while we're bringing this stuff out.
Right.
So Bowley, I'm reading this from Wikipedia, but so we have to be careful with what we read there. But this is something that I've never seen regarding any other black town. But Bowley became notorious for its sundown town signage, and that's Signage. I believe it's some type of poster or a billboard. Like before billboards, it was probably a signage, and I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I see sign in there, so I'm thinking some type of sign.
Signage,
but it says subverting white-only norms for reading white man, don't let the sun set on you here. The sign was removed by federal agents in 1924. So, not only was this a thriving black town, this was a thriving black town with Negroes who weren't afraid.
Oh, praise. That's beautiful.
I'm serious. When you get a chance, check it out. Look at Wikipedia and the history of the town.
Definitely, that's beautiful. Wow, no wonder they hated that one so bad. And I kind of hate he missed that in that video. But that's dope. All right, we're gonna go ahead and park on that video. Man, like I said, shout out to those brothers, man. Great work that they do, and bringing forth this information for us to review. So we're going to jump to the next video, the untold stories of the great African, I use that word loosely, African empires. So we're going to jump into this one. Here we go.
For centuries, African kingdoms have shaped the continent's story, weaving a rich narrative of culture, tradition, and power. From mighty empires to resilient city-states, each left an indelible mark on the African landscape. From the golden coast of Ghana to the majestic mountains of Ethiopia, African kingdoms have been the cradle of civilization, innovation, and artistic expression. Explore with us the vibrant cultures of the African continent and discover the timeless wisdom of Africa's ancient traditions. Meet the legendary leaders who forged empires, resisted colonization, and preserved their people's heritage. Uncover the secrets of Africa's ancient technologies, from irrigation systems to astronomical discoveries. Join us on this captivating journey through the fascinating tales of Africa's kingdoms, where culture, tradition, and power intertwine. Discover the untold stories of Africa's monarchies and experience the resilience and splendor of a continent that continues to inspire awe. Before we head on, consider subscribing to our channel if you're yet to. Like and share our contents to keep spreading our eye-opening Black narrative. Now let's continue on our journey through Africa's great empires. Number 1, Egyptian Empire. In the cradle of civilization, where the majestic Nile River flows, the great Egyptian Empire rose to majesty. Born around 3100 BCE, this ancient powerhouse would dominate the Mediterranean world for millennia, leaving an indelible mark on human history. King Narmer, the Unifier, forged the first dynasty, laying the foundation for Egypt's ascendancy. His successor, Khafre, fortified Egypt's borders, establishing a stronghold that would withstand the test of time. As the Old Kingdom dawned, from 2613 to 2181 BCE, Egypt's pyramids pierced the desert skies, monumental testament to its engineering prowess and religious devotion. The Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, remains an awe-inspiring marvel, drawing millions of visitors. Within its labyrinthine chambers, ancient secrets whisper tales of advanced knowledge, mathematical precision, and architectural genius. The pyramids stood as sentinels, guarding the mysteries of the pharaohs and the gods. The Middle Kingdom, from 2040 to 17,050 BCE, saw Egypt's resurgence under pharaohs like Senusret III and Ahmose I. Conquests of Nubia and Syria expanded Egypt's dominion, while artisans crafted exquisite works, adorning temples and tombs with vibrant paintings and intricate hieroglyphs. The New Kingdom, from 1570 to 1085 BCE, was Egypt's golden age. Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Ramses II forged an empire, establishing trade and diplomatic relations with neighboring kingdoms. Hatshepsut's trade missions and architectural innovations cemented her legacy. Thutmose III's military campaigns expanded Egypt's borders, while Ramses II's legendary battle against the Hittites at Kadesh demonstrated Egypt's military might. The subsequent treaty established a lasting peace, showcasing Egypt's diplomatic prowess. As the Third Intermediate Period dawned, internal strife and external invasions threatened Egypt's stability. Yet the Ptolemaic dynasty, born from Alexander the Great's legacy, revived Egyptian power. Today, Egypt's rich history enthralls millions. Visitors flock to the pyramids, the Great Sphinx, and the Valley of the Kings, uncovering secrets of Pharaoh's past. The Temple of Karnak and the Egyptian Museum showcase Egypt's architectural genius and artistic treasures. Modern leaders have preserved Egypt's heritage, promoting nationalism and economic growth. Cairo, the capital, weaves a tapestry of Islamic, Coptic, and ancient Egyptian heritage, with vibrant souks, majestic mosques, and timeless Nile River cruises. Egypt's eternal legacy is a testament to the ingenuity, resilience, and creativity of its people, an enduring civilization that continues to captivate the world.
All right, we got to take a pause right here because Egypt's or Mizraim's ingenuity came by their hands in the work of the enslavement of the Hebrews. So a lot of that stuff that was built by our people when we were there, doing that work for them for free. It was called slavery.
Right.
And you know, it's hard to say how great a job you do on one video, and then you come to the next video, and it's the first one, and it's just like I get it. You know, the video says the untold stories of great African empires. Mizraim, Egypt was a great empire. It was the second known empire after the flood, after Babel. So, this was the one that the Most High sought to destroy for his own glory. And he did that by bringing us up out of there, bringing our people up out of there. So, but yeah, I just wanted to highlight that one little point. And hopefully we don't, I found it ironic that he mentioned that they were fighting against the Hittites. So you got the Mizrahites fighting the Hittites, the sons of Mizraim fighting against the sons of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, that's ironic as well. So, but let's continue.
2. The Kingdom of Congo.
There we go.
The Congo Empire, located in West Central Africa, was a powerful and influential kingdom that thrived from the 14th to the 17th century. Founded by Nemia Lukeni around 13,000, the empire expanded significantly under King Nzinga Nkuwu in the 15th century. One of the Congo Empire's most notable achievements was its complex system of governance. The empire was decentralized, with a council of advisors known as the Nkanda assisting the king, or Manikongo. Provincial governors, or Mweni, and local chiefs, or Nkulu, administered regions, ensuring effective administration. The Congo Empire's economy was another significant achievement. Agriculture thrived, with crops like maize, cassava, and yams being staple foods. The empire's strategic location enabled trade with European nations, particularly Portugal and other African kingdoms. Ivory, copper, cloth, and slaves were highly valued commodities. Congo artisans developed a rich cultural heritage, renowned for their exceptional craftsmanship. Wood carvings, pottery, and textiles showcased their skill. Music and dance played integral roles in Congo society, with intricate masks and costumes adorning performers. The Congo Empire's interaction with Europeans, particularly Portugal, led to significant cultural exchange. Christianity was introduced in 1491, and King Afonso I, who ruled from 15,009 to 1543, adopted the religion. This led to the development of a unique Afro-Portuguese culture. Alfonso I's reign is notable for its achievements in education and literacy. He established schools and encouraged the use of the Latin alphabet to write the Congo language. This led to a significant increase in literacy rates. The Congo Empire's architectural achievements are still admired today. The empire's capital, Mbanza, Congo, featured impressive structures like the Royal Palace and the Church of the Holy Savior. Despite facing internal conflicts and external pressures, the Congo Empire's legacy endures. Its cultural heritage, art, and architecture continue to inspire and influence contemporary African societies. Under the rule of Diogo I, who ruled from 1545 to 1561, the Congo Empire expanded its borders, incorporating neighboring kingdoms. Alvaro I, who ruled from 1561 to 1587, strengthened trade relations with Portugal and other European nations. The Congo Empire's decline began in the 17th century due to internal conflicts and external pressures. However, its achievements in governance, economy, culture, and architecture remain a testament to its greatness.
Yeah, I said there we go because I was hoping that it was going to show us Israelite Kingdom of Congo. And as my understanding, and I'm still researching these things, but the people of Congo came down from the north. So they came and settled. It were people there that left when they saw all of these people showing up. And they said, this is a problem, and they got up and left. And so these people were able to take that land with pretty much zero conflict. But they came down, from what I understand, they came down from the north. If you go north of Congo, you're talking basically Israel in that area. In that area, they would have been coming from there. So, but let's continue. That's just a little bit of information that I've found so far, but I'm continuing to research. So, let's continue here.
Number 3, the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire's story began in the 13th century when Sundiata Keita, also known as the Lion King, united various Malinke kingdoms near the upper Niger River. Sundiata's vision for a centralized government.
Hold up. Did you see that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I thought that said Gad. It's Gao.
Yeah, that's Gao, but Lion King, Kiete. That Kiete, that actually means lion.
Okay.
Yeah, and these people are associated with the same people who began the ancient kingdom of Ghana, which I'm sure they'll bring that out also. But that kingdom, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me stop. I get hyped when I come across some of this stuff.
I thought the reason I said, did you see that? Because I thought that was Gad, G-A-D.
No, that's Gaio. Those are the two of the twin cities of it's actually old cities, because this is the Mali Empire, but Timbuktu was actually a part of the ancient Ghana Empire. But for what happened, these empires just what do you call it?
They went from one to another. They carried
over. Exactly. It was virtually the same people, and they will say that they're Mandate people, but same E1B1A people.
Kind. All right, let's continue here. This is good stuff.
Okay, kingdoms near the upper Niger River. Sundiata's vision for a centralized government, diplomacy, and a well-trained army laid the groundwork for the empire's prosperity. Under his reign from 1235 to 1255, Sundiata conquered neighboring kingdoms, including the Sasso Empire, and established trade relations with North African merchants. As Sundiata's leadership and strategic alliances paved the way for his successors, the 14th century became known as the Mali Empire's Golden Age. Mansa Musa I, who ruled from 1312 to 1337, expanded the empire's territory, controlled trade routes, and spread Islam. His famous pilgrimage to Mecca showcased the empire's wealth, causing inflation in Egypt. Mansa Musa's diplomatic relations with North African and Middle Eastern leaders further solidified the empire's influence. During this period, Mansa Uli, who had ruled from 1255 to 1270, continued Mansa Musa's legacy and expanded the empire's borders. He conquered key cities, including Timbuktu, which became a major trading center. Timbuktu's strategic location enabled the empire to control the trans-Saharan trade, and when a renowned traveler, Ibn Battuta, visited the Mali Empire during Mansa Suleiman's reign and noted the empire's peace, lawfulness, and prosperity. Ibn Battuta's accounts highlighted the empire's cultural advancements, including its architecture, education, and Islamic practices. The Mali Empire became a center of Islamic learning, attracting scholars from across the Islamic world. Its architecture, including the famous Djingareh Bear Mosque in Timbuktu, showcased its wealth and cultural sophistication. Malian literature flourished, with works such as the Epic of Sundiata, and Malian art became renowned. The Mali Empire's economic prosperity was fueled by its control of trade routes, enabling the empire to exploit gold, salt, copper, and ivory resources. Agriculture was also a significant contributor to its economy, with fertile soil and a favorable climate. However, the empire began to decline in the 15th century due to internal conflicts, external pressures, and the rise of neighboring powers. Despite its decline, the Mali Empire's legacy endured, shaping West African societies and leaving a lasting impact on the region's culture, trade, and politics. Number 4, the Ashanti Empire. The Ashanti Empire's history is one of resilience, strategic leadership, and cultural richness. Founded in the 17th century by Osei Tutu, this powerful West African state would go on to shape the region's history for centuries to come. Osei Tutu, the first Asantehene, or king, united various Akan states and established Kumasi as the empire's capital. With the guidance of his trusted advisor, Okomfo Anokie, Tutu oversaw a massive territorial expansion, building a disciplined army and introducing new organizational structures. The Ashanti army conquered Denkyira in 17,001, gaining access to the Gulf of Guinea and the Atlantic Ocean coastal trade with Europeans. To maintain power, the Ashanti Empire developed a sophisticated system of governance. The empire was divided into provinces, each governed by a relative of the Asantehene. This ensured loyalty and stability, as provincial leaders had a vested interest in the empire's success. A network of scouts and spies provided intelligence on potential threats, allowing the empire to respond quickly to external challenges. The empire's military was also key to its power. The Ashanti army was highly organized, with a centralized command structure and specialized units. Warriors were trained in guerrilla warfare and ambush tactics, making them formidable opponents. The 18th century marked the Ashanti Empire's golden age, with significant economic growth and cultural advancements. The empire became a major player in the gold and slave trades, exchanging resources for firearms and other goods with European powers. This period also saw the development of a sophisticated hierarchical system, architecture, and artisanship. Under the leadership of Opoku Ware I, the empire's borders expanded and power was consolidated. Osei Bonsu modernized the administration, maintaining the empire's prosperity. Notable figures like Ya Asantewa led the Ashanti resistance against British colonial rule, showcasing the empire's resilience. The Ashanti Empire's economic power was also rooted in its control of the gold trade. Gold was mined in the empire's southern regions and traded with European powers, providing significant revenue. The empire's artisans developed renowned gold work, wood carvings, and textiles, which were highly prized throughout West Africa. Despite facing significant challenges, including the Anglo-Ashanti Wars, which ultimately led to British colonization in 1902, the Ashanti Empire's legacy endures. Today, the Ashanti people remain proud of their heritage, with Osei Tutu II, the current Asantehene, serving as a symbol of their enduring identity. The Ashanti Empire's history is a testament to the ingenuity and strength of its people, who built a powerful and enduring state that continues to shape West African history. Number 5, Zulu Empire. The Zulu Empire's story is one of remarkable achievement, strategic leadership, and cultural richness. Founded in the early 19th century by Shaka, a visionary leader, united various Nguni clans and established the Zulu Empire. He revolutionized warfare with the Ikolwa, a thrusting spear, and the buffalo horns formation, which allowed his warriors to surround and annihilate enemy forces. This military prowess helped expand the empire, making it the greatest power in southern Africa. Under Shaka's leadership, the Zulu Empire expanded through conquest, incorporating neighboring tribes and states. His half-brother Dingaan Kasenzangakona ruled for 12 years, fighting against the Voortrekkers, Dutch settlers who sought to establish their own territories in southern Africa. Mpande Kasenzanga Kona, Dingane's half-brother, ruled for 30 years with Boer and British support. During his reign, the empire maintained its power through strategic alliances and conquests. The Zulu Empire's military system was highly organized with regiments, MPI, and age sets. Cetshwayo Kampande, the last Zulu king, fought against the British in the Anglo-Zulu War. Despite being defeated, Cetshwayo's resistance cemented the Zulu Empire's legacy as a powerful and resilient state. Today, the Zulu Empire's legacy endures, with its cultural traditions, language, and history continuing to influence South Africa. The empire's military innovations and strategic leadership remain studied and admired worldwide. Number 6, the Ethiopian Empire. Ethiopia's rich history traces back to the legendary King Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, who founded the Solomonic dynasty in the 8th century BCE. This ancient lineage laid the groundwork for Ethiopia's rich cultural heritage. The empire's early achievements included the construction of the Temple of the Ark in Axum, housing the sacred Ark of the Covenant, and the development of Ge'ez, an ancient script still used in Ethiopian languages. In the 4th century CE, King Ezana expanded the empire, conquering the kingdom of Kush and adopting Christianity. Ezana's military campaigns took him as far as modern-day Sudan, securing vital trade routes and spreading Christianity throughout the region. His reign marked the beginning of Ethiopia's long-standing relationship with the Christian world. The medieval period saw the rise of the Zagwe dynasty, marked by the construction of rock-hewn churches in Lalibela. King Lalibela, the dynasty's most famous ruler, built these magnificent structures, which would become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Zagwe dynasty's achievements in art, architecture, and literature helped establish Ethiopia as a center of African culture. In the 13th century, Emperor Yekuno Amlak restored the Solomonic dynasty, unifying the empire and modernizing its military. His successor, Emperor Tewodros I, continued this progress, introducing modern infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Tewodros' vision for a unified Ethiopia led him to conquer various regional kingdoms, laying the foundation for the modern Ethiopian state. Emperor Menelik II, who ruled from 1889 to 1913, is revered as a national hero. He defeated Italian colonizers at the Battle of Adwa in 1896, securing Ethiopian independence. Menelik's strategic diplomacy and military prowess ensured Ethiopia's sovereignty in the face of European colonialism. He also introduced modern infrastructure, education, and healthcare, transforming Addis Ababa into a thriving capital city. Emperor Haile Selassie, who ruled from 1930 to 1974, further modernized the empire. He introduced a constitution, promoted international cooperation, and played a key role in the founding of the African Union. Haile Selassie's leadership during World War II secured Ethiopia's independence once again, as he rallied the nation against Italian occupation. In recent times, leaders like Meles Zenawi and Abiy Ahmed have driven Ethiopia's progress. Meles Zenawi, who ruled from 1991 to 2012, implemented economic reforms, investing in infrastructure and education. His leadership transformed Ethiopia into one of Africa's fastest-growing economies. Abiy Ahmed, who took office in 2018, has continued this progress. He implemented democratic reforms, freed political prisoners, and made peace with neighboring Eritrea, ending decades of conflict. Abiy's leadership has earned him international recognition, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. Throughout its history, Ethiopia's resilience and adaptability have ensured its continued relevance. From ancient kingdoms to modern-day progress, the Ethiopian Empire's legacy endures, shaping the region's history, culture, and identity. Number 7, the Songhai Empire. The Songhai Empire's story is one of grandeur, resilience, and cultural richness. In the 8th century CE, the Songhai people settled along the Niger River, laying the foundation for a powerful West African empire. Sunni Ali Ber, a visionary leader, transformed the Songhai into a mighty force in the 15th century. He conquered neighboring kingdoms, incorporating their riches and knowledge into the empire. His military campaigns took him as far as Timbuktu, which became a vital hub for Islamic learning and trade. Timbuktu's majestic architecture, including the Jingareber Mosque, and its vibrant markets, flourished under Sunni Ali Bear's leadership. Under his rule, the Songhai Empire developed a sophisticated administrative system, promoting regional stability and prosperity. He encouraged agriculture, commerce, and education, establishing the empire as a center of Islamic scholarship. Merchants traded gold, salt, and cloth along the Niger River, fueling the empire's growth. Askia Muhammad I, who succeeded Sunni Ali Bear, further solidified the empire's power. A skilled diplomat and strategist, Askia Muhammad expanded the empire's borders through strategic alliances and military campaigns. He promoted Islamic education, encouraging scholars to flock to Timbuktu. The city became renowned for its vibrant intellectual life, attracting scholars from across Africa and the Mediterranean. The Songhai Empire's prosperity reached its peak during Askia Muhammad's reign. The Niger River continued to support regional commerce, with merchants trading goods from across West Africa. Gao, the empire's administrative hub, oversaw provincial leaders governing local affairs. To maintain power, the Songhai Empire relied on a robust military, with cavalry and infantry forces. Strategic alliances with neighboring kingdoms and regional leaders ensured stability. However, internal conflicts and external threats from the Moroccan Empire weakened the Songhai in the 16th century. Moroccan forces conquered Timbuktu in 1591, marking the beginning of the end of the Songhai Empire. In modern times, leaders like Amadou Hampâté Bâ and Seydou Badiane Kouyaté have promoted Songhai culture and heritage. Today, tourists flock to Timbuktu's Djinguereber Mosque, the Niger River's scenic banks, and the Sahara Desert's majestic dunes. The Songhai Empire's story showcases West Africa's rich history, cultural achievements, and resilience. Its impact on the region has been profound, leaving a lasting legacy in Islamic education, regional trade, and cultural heritage. Number 8, the Great Zimbabwe Empire. The Great Zimbabwe Empire, a medieval kingdom located in modern-day Zimbabwe, is a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of the Shona people. Founded in the 11th century, this ancient city became the capital of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe during its late Iron Age. The empire's growth is attributed to the decline of Mapungubwe, a pre-colonial state in southern Africa, around 13,000, due to climatic change or the greater availability of gold in the hinterland of Great Zimbabwe. Under the leadership of Nyatsimba Mutota, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe expanded, and its dynasty was established at Chitakochangonya Hill. The rulers of Zimbabwe brought artistic and stone masonry traditions from Mapungubwe, constructing elaborate stone buildings and walls that reached their apex in the kingdom. The most formidable edifice, the Great Enclosure, is the largest ancient structure south of the Sahara Desert. To maintain its power, the Great Zimbabwe Empire relied on strong military and strategic alliances. Its army was organized into regiments with soldiers armed with spears, bows, and arrows. The empire's military might was demonstrated through its conquests of neighboring tribes and states, expanding its territories and control over trade routes. One notable conflict was the war against the Kingdom of Kami, a neighboring state that threatened Zimbabwe's trade interests. The Great Zimbabwe Empire emerged victorious, incorporating Kami's territories and solidifying its dominance in the region. Another significant conflict was the war against the Rosvi dynasty, a powerful rival state that emerged in the 17th century. The Rosvi dynasty challenged Great Zimbabwe's authority, leading to a series of battles that ultimately weakened the empire. Despite these challenges, Great Zimbabwe's economy thrived on international trade, mainly in gold and ivory, with links to Kilwa Kisiwani and extending as far as China. Archaeological evidence suggests a high degree of social stratification, with poorer residents living outside the city. The empire's advanced masonry techniques and sophisticated architecture have made it a notable archaeological site. Today, Great Zimbabwe is a national monument and a World Heritage Site, attracting tourists from around the globe. Visitors can explore the hill complex, the valley ruins, and the Great Enclosure, marveling at the ancient stonework and architecture. The site has also become a symbol of national pride, with the Zimbabwe bird, found in the ruins, featured on the country's flag. In recent times, leaders have worked to preserve and promote Great Zimbabwe's heritage. Archaeologists like David Randall McIver and Gertrude Caton Thompson have contributed significantly to our understanding of the empire's history and significance. Their findings have helped dispel myths about the empire's origins, confirming that Great Zimbabwe is an exclusively African achievement. Modern-day leaders such as Robert Mugabe and Emerson Mnangagwa have recognized the empire's importance, promoting its legacy as a source of national identity and pride. Number 9, the Ajuran Empire. The Ajuran Sultanate, a medieval Muslim empire, flourished in the Horn of Africa from the 13th to 17th century. Its name originates from the Arabic word ujara, meaning to rent or tax, reflecting the empire's impressive tributes. Founded by Somali sultans, the Ajuran Empire rose to prominence during the 13th and 14th centuries, becoming Africa's only hydraulic empire by the 15th century. The empire's success was largely due to its strong centralized administration and aggressive military stance. The Ajurans resisted Oromo invasions from the west and fought against Portuguese incursions from the east. They were among the great centers of commerce in the African world, with trading routes connecting them to the Near East, East Asia, and beyond. In fact, the Ajurans are believed to be the first Africans to have contact with China. The House of Garan, the ruling dynasty, played a significant role in the empire's growth. With their origins in the Garan Kingdom of Ethiopia, they introduced new cultural and religious orders, influencing the administrative structure of the dynasty. The Ajurans were known for their impressive technological innovations, including systems of dikes and dams on the Shabelle River, large homes, and stone fortifications. The empire's military prowess was notable, with a powerful army that employed firearms towards the end of its dominant period. As a water dynasty, the Ajurans monopolized the Juba and Shabelle rivers through hydraulic engineering. Their sphere of influence extended from Hafun in the north to Kismayo in the south and Kalafo in the west. Major cities like Mogadishu, Merka, and Barawa thrived under Ajuran rule. Mogadishu, in particular, was a significant cultural and commercial center, with the empire's rulers maintaining a hegemony for approximately 150 years. The city's rich history is still evident today, with many historical sites and landmarks, such as the Sheikh Hussein tomb, attracting tourists. The Ajuran Empire's decline began in the 17th century due to internal conflicts, oppressive taxation, and the loss of port cities and fertile farms. However, its legacy endures, with many Somali maritime enterprises continuing to thrive long after its collapse. In modern times, leaders have worked to preserve and promote the Ajuran Empire's heritage. Somali scholars like Sheikh Hussein have contributed significantly to the understanding of the empire's history and significance. Today, visitors can explore the ruins of the Ajuran Empire, marveling at the ancient stonework and architecture, and experiencing the rich cultural heritage of the Horn of Africa. Number 10, Kanem-Bornu Empire. The Kanem-Bornu Empire, one of Africa's most enduring and influential empires, sprawls across the Saharan region, covering modern-day Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Libya. Founded around 1700 CE by the Kanuri people, this empire would dominate the trans-Saharan trade for over 1,000 years. The empire's early growth was fueled by its strategic location, controlling key trade routes between North Africa and the Sahel region. Under the leadership of King Bulu, Kanem expanded its territories, conquering neighboring states and establishing a robust administrative system. As the empire grew, Mai Dunama Dabalemi rose to power in the 11th century. A visionary leader, Dabalemi expanded Kanem's borders, conquering the Fezzan region in modern-day Libya. His military campaigns established Kanem as a major power, attracting scholars, merchants, and Islamic scholars. The 14th century saw Kanem face internal strife and external threats from the Balala people. However, under the leadership of Mai Idris Aluma, the empire was revitalized. Aluma implemented innovative administrative reforms, expanded trade networks, and promoted Islamic scholarship. Aluma's military campaigns against the Balala and other neighboring states solidified Kanem's dominance. His diplomatic relations with the Ottoman Empire and other North African states further bolstered the empire's influence. As Kanem's power waned, the Bornu Empire emerged in the 15th century, with its capital in Ngazargamu. Bornu continued Kanem's legacy, maintaining control over the trans-Saharan trade and expanding its territories. In modern times, leaders like President Idris Deby of Chad have worked to preserve the empire's heritage. The Shehu of Borno continues to play a vital role in promoting the empire's legacy. Visitors to the region can explore the ancient city of Ngazargamu, marveling at the ruins of the Kanem-Bornu Palace. The Kanem-Bornu Empire story serves as a reminder of Africa's rich history, cultural diversity, and contributions to global civilization. Its impact on African history, trade, and culture remains unparalleled. Today, all these great African empires leave a lasting legacy of triumph, resilience, and innovation. Their stories continue to inspire and educate us today, reminding us of Africa's rich contributions to human civilization. May their history empower us to build a brighter future. Thank you for staying with us till the end of the journey through Africa's great empires. We look forward to sharing more stories.
All right. Yeah, surprising. They didn't hit on that on the Ghana empire.
Yeah, and you know, they usually do very good work, but you know, they kind of missed the ball with that one, because what you had, the Ghana Empire, you know, actually started uh you know, the West African, or what they would call the Western Sudanic empires. Ghana was succeeded by Mali, then Mali was succeeded by Songhai. You remember hearing them mention Gayo with the Songhai Empire.
Right.
You know, that city in Timbuktu were very implemental cities for all three of those kingdoms, and they're all related people. And in fact, so the 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 person who is accredited with beginning the Ghana Empire, they call him Dinga Sissi. He came from Yemen. So what historians or what the Europeans want us to believe, is that this Yemenite came over to West Africa and took over, and they made him king. That's not how it happened. Yeah, he came over because he was able to become a ruler because he was the same people. He was from the same people. Now, what we know about Yemen became a refuge for the Yahudim after 70 AD. There were a lot of Yahudim that lived in Yemen, and from there they moved to we talked about it here. What was that? Great Mozambique. Yeah, the Limba talk about the Limba, which are also, you know, Israelite people that reside in Mozambique, talk about living in Yemen before they came to Mozambique.
Yeah, I pulled up the Wikipedia on it just to kind of we can look at it real quick since they didn't bring it in, and yeah, it talks about his death, his two sons, Khan and Diable.
Diaby.
Yeah, consent to kingship, and Diable was victorious, founding
Ouagadougou.
Okay. Yeah, so just having a look here. You know, one thing I really picked up on this is that you know, the people tend to go with, you know, religion is a vital part of these people. You know, so if these were Israelite people, you know, they were certainly partial to religion. I'm trying to remember which one was that? Oh, that was Congo, where they said they became Christians and started spreading Christianity. I was like, what? And
well, here's my theory on that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Christianity that they were practicing wasn't I mean, it became a Roman Catholic type of deal, but when they implemented it because it was relatable to them. Kind of like how when we read the scripts and we're able to see a parallel,
right?
They were able to see the same thing and understood that this was talking about them. This is my theory, you know, on it, you know.
Yeah, I feel you on that, and that makes a lot of sense.
In Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, those people, for the vast majority of them became Muslims. But
Yeah.
what were they before they were Muslims? And what you will find out is that they were practicing Hebrewisms, is what it, because we know it's not a religion,
Right.
it's law, statute, and commandments given by the Abba to his children.
Yeah, indeed. And we would have been in such better shape if we would have stayed right there instead of deviating, going into something else here. So as we dig deeper, this is Australia. So there's another Gold Coast in Australia.
Well, yeah, they call Australia like one of those. I forget exactly where it's at, but yeah, they call it the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And I forget why, because it's no gold there.
Wow.
But yeah, I forget why they call it that.
Okay, it's ironic because I went to this. This is in Britannica, and it Gold Coast. I said, "Oh, this is another Gold Coast in West Africa." But I see here Queensland, Australia. I'm like, what? So, yeah, but nevertheless, lots of interesting information, and you can definitely dig deeper into the history of the Ghana Empire. This thing don't want to go back. I said backwards. What is this thing doing? It don't want to go back to where I was Googling. Look at this. What is up with Britannica? There you go. My goodness. It act like I was pulling me in. The World History Encyclopedia, there's another. So I just Googled Ghana Empire, and it gave me, of course, Wikipedia, Britannica, the World History Encyclopedia. Let's take a look at this one real quick and see what they show. Just real quick. I know we're about to wrap up here. Just curious, kind of like fries. Yeah, so I'm intrigued by this by these historical points.
It's really deep, when you really get into it and you see the rise and the fall of these empires. So it's all connected to. So what you had was Tyre, Zidon, and Philistia move across North Africa to the western parts of Africa, and also into the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal. But they were accompanied by Israelites. Israelites were there as well, with them. Now, what ended up happening, these people understood that they weren't the same people. The Israelites we've been running. The vast majority of our existence, So, we continually got pushed south, south, and from there, spreading out to the Congo, spreading out to other parts of South Africa. But it's a real deep story because you look at some of the Moors, and some of these Philistines are still there in North Africa, and some of our people are still in slavery. Some of these Philistines are.
Right, of course, indeed. Yeah, Psalms 83, they listed there. So here's an interesting video that from the World History Encyclopedia that they have on YouTube that we can't show on YouTube, but we can show everywhere else. So we may get into this, not tonight, definitely not tonight, but we may take a look at this sometime soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe depending on how long it is and what information it has. But I want to check it out and see who's talking and what they get into. But this is on the World Encyclopedia page. I'm going to back out of this real quick. So, yeah, we probably can get even more deep information on that particular empire that was kind of missed there. So, interesting stuff, real interesting. Well, Yeah, we'll pick that up. We may have to do our own part 2 on that on that particular video. So bringing in the Ghana Empire, and yeah, I want to know about Kenya as well. Like, where did Kenya come from? Like, what was the origin of that? Like,
So, Kenya has Neolithic tribes as well as Hamitic tribes, but they will tell you that the Bantu came in and kind of took over. So, now it's inhabited by quite a few of our people as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying about Congo. Congo was like that. The Bantu showed up, and them people were like, "We got to go." These people, much like it read in the script, like these people cover the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? So, all praises to the Abba. But we're gonna go ahead and close it out here. It's been a good video review. This is one of the more educational reviews that we've done with the cities that were been destroyed by our oppressors, and then by the going over these cities and these countries in Ghana that were in Ghana, my bad, and countries on the continent that were great empires. These great empires on the continent. A lot of these have direct ties to our people. So interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Any final thoughts on?
Now, all praises to the Most High for allowing us yet another night. Bring out some truth.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah, it's always great on the Yom Shishi evening. And man, I'm just thankful, to the Abba for all that he's done for us and continues to educate us. You're like, oh, the Abba didn't make that video, but that's all right. He gave us the drive and the will to want to dig into some information and find something that can be suitable for us. So interesting stuff. I think we're gonna find some good information from this Britannica, about this Ghana Empire as well. So yeah, we're gonna definitely have additional information for that. So but we're gonna close out here, and we'll close out as always with the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 12, verse number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It is so very important that we understand that in the conclusion of the whole matter, we are to fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. At the end of the day, when it is all said and done, all the dust is settled and all the smoke is cleared. We will be judged on whether we have feared the Most High and kept his commandments. Why? Because this is the entire reason that we are here. I am Ya'akazaki Yahu, joined by my most esteemed Akenanaya, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the 4 quarters of the earth. I say Shalom, Wa Baruchim. That is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation under the Most High Power, under one covenant, back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone. Until that day come, and not to mention with our enemies under our feet. Until that day comes, shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom, Mr. Picard.
All praises to the Abba. Praise you, Abba. Hallelujah.